Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. I'm so glad to have you guys back with me. Today we're going to be doing a super fun book tag that I saw. It's an original tag by Book Time With Elis. I'll link his page down below for you guys, his channel down below. I thought this was super cute, so let's have some fun. So basically I'm going very odd today. So basically what it is a new tag. It is hashtag booktube recommends, and it's just a bunch of things, situations, and what book would you read in this situation. So question number one is what to read when relaxing on a beach. So I picked Cecilia Ahern's Where Rainbows End. If I picture being on a beach, I want something light, I want something fluffy, I want something cute, something easy to read. And, you know, something that's quick paced, because you don't want to be like caught in the middle of something and run off to you know what I mean? You just want something that's easy to pick up, find your place, get back in. And what I really love about this book is that it's literally a whole bunch of letters to each other from the two characters. They are childhood friends. You've got Rosie and Alex, and they have been childhood friends. You know, she's had feelings for him, I think he's had feelings for her, but life kind of just goes awry and they grow up doing different things because of various different situations, and it's just so sweet to watch this whole story unfold through a series of letters. I love it. I love stuff like that. I think it's super cute, it's light, it was such a fun read. So that would be my beach read. The next question is number two. What would I read on a cold, dark winter's evening? So I recently finished The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, and this is such an atmospheric read. It is cold, it's in the north, it involves frost, and it's just, yeah, it's such a like cozy up with coffee and a nice blanket. What would I read on holiday in? And then you choose place. So I haven't traveled, but if I picture Ketterdam in Six of Crows by Levi Dugo, I picture Amsterdam. So I'm saying if you're in Amsterdam, read Six of Crows. My next one here is number four, is you have an unexpected few minutes at hand. So unexpected few minutes, I would probably pick up one of the books that I am currently reading, to be honest with you. If I had a few extra minutes, I'd want to just get a couple of more pages in, because I tend to read one book at a time, maybe two, but not more than that. Or if I had a few minutes free, to be honest with you, I'd probably check out Instagram or Pinterest for some more book recs. When I want to leave my usual reading comfort zone, so if I want to leave my usual comfort reading zone, another bunch of books that I quite often delve into is self-development books, and then I would read something like Be the Hero by Noah Blumenthal. I absolutely love this. Some beautiful lessons learned in this book. Yeah, stuff like that. Self-development books that are yeah, there you go, self-explanatory. Self-development books or self-developmental. I'm being a bit blunt today. So then if I want to read a life story of a lesser known person, so I would recommend, if you want to read about a lesser known person, Marlene Dietrich. I'm having tongue tying today. Maybe it's just because it's cold and like everything, you know, when you type and your fingers are cold and they get all stiff and then, yeah, it doesn't work. Anyway, Marlene Dietrich, My Life. So I love this. She was an entertainer back during the World War, and she traveled to the camps and entertained the soldiers, and some of the anecdotes in here are just beautiful. So I love stuff like that. I really do love World War stuff. I love reading. If I'm going to read a true life story, it generally tends to be something along those kinds of lines. Then if I am in the mood for fantasy, I would probably pick up absolutely anything by Terry Brooks. I absolutely love his fantasy and how well he developed. His world building is just absolutely incredible. I don't see a lot of him on the sites though, which I'm not quite sure why, because look, I know a lot of his books are probably older and he's been around the hills, but it's just like some of the others. But his fantasy is just so well rounded and so well developed. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So I would definitely recommend anything by him. This one is The Voyage of Jules Shannara, which is book 1 of the Owl Witch trilogy. So his trilogies tend to kind of like delve into each other, which is really sweet, but you can also read them separately and in different orders. They don't necessarily have to be read in order. Then, if I want to be scared out of my wits, I don't read horror, so I can't really answer that one for you. Maybe somebody else will in one of the next tags. And then question number 8 is what to read if you want to be moved. So like I said, I really love World War things. I read this one fairly recently as well. This is called The Yellow Bird Sings by Jennifer Rosner. And this is a tale of a mom and a daughter going through the war and how they get separated at some point and the hardships they go through. I mean, I can't imagine being separated from my child during the middle of a war. You know, obviously mom and daughter are Jewish, and that's just, yeah, creates a whole thing. So that was really heartfelt. So the next question, question number 9, is what would I read or what would I suggest you read if you're a dog person? So I did not read this one, but my husband's grandfather did. It is on my TBR, and this is Damien Dibben Tomorrow. So if I remember the premise of this correctly, Valentine and his dog Tomorrow, they are pretty much immortal, and they kind of travel the world, and at some point Tomorrow loses his owner and he travels to refind him. Like, you know, they get sort of lost and separated, and this is such a beautiful journey, apparently through Venice as well, so it's very transportive, I believe, during, yeah, all sorts of things happening. But anyway, this precious dog is trying to look for his owner. I would imagine it's something along the lines of like Hachiko. I don't know if you guys know the movie. Then the next question is, if somebody were to visit my home or my country, which is South Africa, what would I suggest that they read? And this one kind of, I had to laugh in my own little mind and think any of the corruption books. But then I thought, no, that's not very patriotic. So I am going to suggest one of my absolute favorites. I remember when I was in school, this was like, you know, for Afrikaans, you know, our second language, we had to read the Afrikaans version of this book. I think she actually writes in Afrikaans and some of them are translated, but this is the most beautiful tale, and that is Circles in a Forest by Darlene Matthee, or otherwise Kring in 'n Bos. And this is the most incredible tale about the Knysna Forest and about this elephant in the Knysna Forest and this young boy who was born as a woodcutter and how he sort of changed his life. And it's very South African. It's in the Knysna Forest. It involves the elephants. Like, it's just, yeah, it's in the Knysna Forest. It involves the elephants. I cannot think of anything that's more South African than this. Right, next one is, if I am feeling down, what would I read? I would probably, if I was feeling a little miserable and wanted a bit of a pick-me-up, I think I'd probably pick up, I know it looks like a hefty book, it is a hefty book, it's just an omnibus of all of them together, but anyway, I would pick up The Chronicles of Narnia by, and I'm going blank here, by C.S. Lewis. There you go. Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I always find it so heartening and so enjoyable, and just, yeah, it just brings me right back down to the simple things. So I know it's simple things, and it's just, yeah, it's one of my absolute favorites. So if I am feeling adventurous or on the onset of itchy feet, if I wanted to kind of travel around and see different places and do different things, but through a book, I would pick up the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, because this is super fun. I love, like, yeah, it's a mystery, but adventurous, and going from here and going to there and doing all these things. Any of Dan Brown's books kind of do that for me. If I've got itchy feet and I want to kind of like go on an adventure, they kind of do it for me. So then the question number 13 is, if I want to keep a child occupied, I would probably pick up one of my absolute favorites from childhood, and my eldest, my 5-year-old, loves this as well. And this is actually, it was very hard to track down, but anyway, The Fantastic Flying Journey by Gerald Durrell. So this is absolutely beautiful. It is traveling around the world. A bunch of kids go with their great uncle around the world, and in like a flying air balloon, and it's got a house and all these things, and then they learn about different animals on their journeys, and I just love it. It's just so nostalgic for me. So a next one is if I am feeling amorous. So if I'm feeling like a love story, I would pick up Lovely War by Julie Berry. So this I read probably at the beginning of the year or just at the end of last year, and I flew through it. I really just tried to savor it all, and it just disappeared. But this is a beautiful story. It's about the Greek gods and they kind of how they delve into people's love lives, and they are two couples that kind of go through this book and just their story through the war, and it's just all of my lovely favorites all wrapped up together. There's an element of fantasy, there's romance, there's, you know, World War setting. Like, I'm sold. But anyway, amorous, that would definitely be my pick or my suggestion. If I have got the history bug, I don't tend to pick up a lot of nonfiction, but if I were looking for something history-fied, I'd pick up a World War II book. Anyway, this is Night Crossing by Robert Ryan, and our main protagonist in here is a gentleman who ends up being a spy, but he was a cop, and he kind of gets very involved with a Jewish girl and her ex-fiancé, who ends up being a submarine U-boat guy. Anyway, Night Crossing, Robert Ryan. So the next one is 16, you have Murder in Mind. Murder in Mind, I'd probably pick up absolutely anything by James Patterson, like Six Targets. These are two of my favorites. I absolutely love the whole Women's Murder Club series, and then anything obviously with Alex Cross in it. So James Patterson, if I had Murder in Mind. And then if nostalgia decided to strike me, that's question number 17, I would pick up Harry Potter. And if I wanted to come across as intelligent, I would probably pick up another self-development book, probably something by John C. Maxwell, like Leadership Gold. And then the last question here is actually, I thought about this a lot, and then I thought, if I needed to fall asleep quickly, which book would I pick? And I kind of thought, I have two little kids. If I read any book lying down, it would probably put me to sleep. But then I thought, hang on a second, Dr. Seuss has got a sleep book, so I would probably read this, because this is just, if you have kids, if you have ever read anything by Dr. Seuss that involves sleep, it is literally geared to put you to sleep. So anyway, that was my hashtag book recommends. I thought that was a super fun tag. I'm gonna suggest that you guys, if you like this tag, please do it too, and then comment down below. I'd love to see what you guys do with it. And anyway, I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye!